Introduction for the video on the Three Kingdoms period of Chinese history, 220 to 280. Welcome back to Captivating History. Today, we're diving into one of the most famous and tumultuous periods in Chinese history, the Three Kingdoms period, 220 to 280. This era is marked by the fierce clashes between three major powers, Cao Wei, Shu Han, and Eastern Wu, led by figures such as Cao Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Quan, along with their brilliant strategists and generals like Zhuge Liang, Sima Yi, and Zhou Yu. Battles of strategic importance, like the Battle of Red Cliffs, have become legendary, not just for their military might but also for the cunning and vision of the leaders involved. Beyond warfare, the Three Kingdoms was also a period of significant development in philosophy and religion, particularly with the rise of Taoism and Buddhism. During this time, rulers not only used religion to strengthen their political power but also to shape the spiritual lives of the people. Art and culture flourished during this period as well. Tales of heroism, loyalty, and betrayal formed the backbone of literary and artistic works that have endured throughout history. Military and technological innovations, such as the multi-bolt crossbow and the south-pointing chariot, also played a crucial role in changing the course of warfare. If you love history and want to gain a deeper understanding of the Three Kingdoms era, continue watching as Captivating History reveals the mysteries and fascinating stories from this extraordinary period. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on our future exciting videos. 1. Formation and conflicts. The Three Kingdoms period began after the fall of the Eastern Han Dynasty, leading to the rise of the three competing states of Cao Wei, Shu Han, and Eastern Wu. This was a time of prolonged warfare as each kingdom vied for dominance, making alliances and breaking them when it served their interests. The conflict between these states became legendary for its tactical brilliance and the famous characters who defined the era. 2. Notable battles. The Three Kingdoms period is renowned for its remarkable battles. The Battle of Red Cliffs in 208 AD remains one of the most significant, where the smaller forces of Sun Quan and Liu Bei's coalition decisively defeated the powerful army of Cao Cao. This victory not only ensured the survival of Eastern Wu and Shu Han but also cemented the strategic genius of their commanders, Zhuge Liang and Zhou Yu. 3. Zhuge Liang's influence. Zhuge Liang, the famous strategist of Shu Han, is one of the most celebrated figures of the period. His Longzong Plan, a masterful diplomatic and military strategy, aimed to unify China under Shu Han's rule. Zhuge Liang's wisdom and foresight earned him a legendary status in Chinese history, making him an enduring symbol of loyalty and intelligence. 4. Sima Yi and the Wei dynasty. On the other side, the brilliant general Sima Yi rose to prominence in the state of Cao Wei. Known for his strategic acumen, Sima Yi played a key role in resisting Zhuge Liang's northern expeditions. His eventual seizure of power laid the foundation for the Jin Dynasty, which would later unify China after the collapse of the Three Kingdoms. 5. Philosophical shifts. During this time, Confucianism, which had been the guiding philosophy of the Han Dynasty, began to blend with other thoughts, such as Taoism and Buddhism. These philosophical shifts influenced both the governance of the states and the daily lives of the people. Taoism's emphasis on balance and harmony, alongside the growing influence of Buddhism, began to shape the intellectual and spiritual landscape of China. 6. Cultural contributions. Art and culture flourished during this era. Despite the ongoing conflicts, literature, painting, and technological advancements saw significant development. The stories of the Three Kingdoms heroes became embedded in Chinese folklore, while military innovations, such as the repeating crossbow and mechanical transport devices, highlighted the ingenuity of the time. 7. The fall of the Three Kingdoms. The fall of the Three Kingdoms period culminated with the rise of the Jin Dynasty. Founded by Sima Yan, the grandson of Sima Yi, by 280 AD, Sima Yan had successfully unified the Chinese territories under the Jin Dynasty, marking the official end of the Three Kingdoms era. This unification, however, did not bring lasting peace, as internal conflicts and external pressures would continue to challenge the Jin Dynasty in the years that followed. 8. The role of women. Women in the Three Kingdoms period played influential, though often overlooked, roles in politics and warfare. Historical figures like Lady Sun, the sister of Sun Quan, and Zhen Ji, the wife of Cao Pi, held considerable influence within their respective states. They often acted as political advisors, regents, or symbols of loyalty and sacrifice. Although much of history focuses on the military and political leaders, the contributions of these women were integral to the strategies and outcomes of many battles and alliances. 9. The influence of Taoism and Buddhism. Religious beliefs during the Three Kingdoms period were heavily shaped by Taoism and Buddhism. Taoism, which had long been a part of Chinese culture, evolved into an organized religion with the rise of sects like the Five Pecks of Rice movement led by Zhang Lu. Buddhism, introduced from India, began to gain traction as well, particularly in the northern regions. These religions not only offered spiritual guidance but also influenced the governance of the kingdoms and the lives of the people. 10. The spread of Buddhism. Buddhism became more prominent in China during the late Eastern Han and Three Kingdoms periods. Monks like An Shigao and Kong Senghui were instrumental in translating Buddhist scriptures into Chinese, helping to spread its teachings across the region. The support of political figures like Sun Quan of Eastern Wu also contributed to the growth of Buddhism, as temples were built and texts were disseminated throughout his realm. 11. Technological advancements. Despite the constant warfare, the Three Kingdoms period saw significant technological advancements. The development of mechanical innovations such as the repeating crossbow, invented by Zhuge Liang, revolutionized military tactics. Additionally, innovations in hydraulic engineering and the widespread use of the south-pointing chariot demonstrated the ingenuity of the time. These inventions were not only essential for military operations but also played a role in agricultural productivity and infrastructure. 12. Economic conditions. The economy of each kingdom varied based on geography and available resources. Cao Wei had the advantage of controlling the fertile lands of the North China Plain, which allowed for a strong agricultural base. Shu Han capitalized on its isolated position in the Sichuan Basin, relying on its fertile lands and strategic trade routes. Eastern Wu benefited from its access to the Yangtze River and coastal trade routes, which made it a hub for commerce and naval power. Despite the ongoing wars, each kingdom maintained a functional economy through a mix of agriculture, trade, and technological innovation. 13. The role of Confucianism. Though Taoism and Buddhism were rising in prominence, Confucianism remained a key philosophical and political framework during the Three Kingdoms period. Leaders like Cao Cao and Liu Bei still adhered to many Confucian ideals, especially in governance and diplomacy. The Confucian emphasis on hierarchy, loyalty, and social harmony played a role in the administration of all three kingdoms, shaping their laws and policies. 14. The development of art and culture. Art and culture flourished during the Three Kingdoms era, even amid the political strife. Cao Wei became known for its poetry and literary works, with figures like Cao Ji contributing greatly to Chinese literature. In Eastern Wu, artists like Dao Buheng developed new techniques in painting, particularly in Buddhist art. Meanwhile, Shu Han focused on the production of textiles, particularly brocades, which became highly prized exports throughout the region. 15. The importance of military leadership. The success or failure of each kingdom often rested on the abilities of its military leaders. Cao Cao is remembered as one of the greatest tacticians of his time, known for his ability to adapt to different battle scenarios. Zhuge Liang, the chancellor of Shu Han, became legendary for his use of strategy and diplomacy, while Sun Quan of Eastern Wu is remembered for his naval expertise and political acumen. Their leadership helped shape the course of Chinese history during this era. 16. The legacy of the Three Kingdoms. The legacy of the Three Kingdoms period extends far beyond its historical timeline. The events and figures from this time have been immortalized in literature, particularly in the classic Chinese novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, written during the Ming Dynasty. This period has inspired countless adaptations in film, television, and video games, making it one of the most widely recognized eras of Chinese history. 17. Conclusion. The Three Kingdoms period may have been brief, but its impact on Chinese history is profound. It was a time of legendary heroes, groundbreaking military strategies, and significant cultural and philosophical developments. The battles fought, the alliances made and broken, and the legacies of its key figures continue to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. 18. The role of diplomacy. Diplomacy played a crucial role in the Three Kingdoms period, especially in the relationships between the three states. Alliances and betrayals were common as each state sought to gain the upper hand. The most famous alliance was the one between Shu Han and Eastern Wu. Originally brokered by Zhuge Liang, this alliance was vital in their combined efforts to resist the might of Cao Wei. However, diplomacy was not always successful, as seen in the eventual dissolution of this alliance when Eastern Wu attacked Shu Han to take control of Jing province. 19. The fall of Shu Han. The fall of Shu Han in 263 AD marked a significant turning point in the Three Kingdoms era. After Zhuge Liang's death, the state struggled to maintain its position. Jiang Wei, Zhuge Liang's successor, attempted multiple northern expeditions to reclaim lost territories from Cao Wei, but none succeeded. Cao Wei, under the leadership of Sima Yi, launched a final assault on Shu Han in 263. Resulting in the capture of Chengdu and the forced surrender of Lu Shan, the last ruler of Shu Han. This defeat marked the end of Shu Han's reign and weakened the overall balance of power in the region. 20. The fall of Eastern Wu. After the fall of Shu Han, Eastern Wu became increasingly isolated. The state suffered from internal strife, and its leadership under Sun Hao was ineffective, marked by extravagance and cruelty. This weakness paved the way for Cao Wei to turn its attention toward Eastern Wu. By 280 AD, Sima Yi, the first emperor of the Jin Dynasty, launched a decisive campaign to conquer Eastern Wu. With little resistance, Sun Hao surrendered, marking the official end of the Three Kingdoms period and the unification of China under the Jin Dynasty. 21. The rise of the Jin Dynasty. The Jin Dynasty, founded by Sima Yi in 265 AD after overthrowing Cao Wei, represented the culmination of the Sima family's efforts to consolidate power. The dynasty, although short-lived, successfully unified China in 280 AD. However, despite this unification, the Jin dynasty faced internal corruption and external threats, which would lead to its eventual decline. The challenges that the dynasty faced highlight the ongoing struggles for power that characterized much of China's early imperial history. 22. The Northern Expeditions. One of the most notable military campaigns of the Three Kingdoms period was Zhuge Liang's Northern Expeditions. From 228 to 234 AD, Zhuge Liang led 5 campaigns to reclaim the territories of Cao Wei in the north. His goal was to fulfill Liu Bei's dying wish to restore the Han dynasty by defeating Cao Wei and uniting China under Shu Han. Despite his brilliant strategies, Zhuge Liang's campaigns were ultimately unsuccessful due to logistical challenges and a lack of manpower. His death in 234 AD marked the end of the northern expeditions and a major setback for Shu Han's ambitions. 23. The role of advisors and strategists. The Three Kingdoms period is known for its brilliant advisors and strategists who played key roles in shaping the course of history. Zhuge Liang, Sima Yi, Lu Su, and Jia Shu are just a few examples of the tactical minds whose strategies determined the outcomes of significant battles and political maneuverings. These figures were often behind the scenes, providing crucial counsel to their rulers and devising the strategies that would lead their states to victory, or, in some cases, to ruin. 24. Cao Cao's leadership. Cao Cao, one of the most famous figures of the Three Kingdoms, was both feared and respected for his military prowess and political acumen. His leadership of Cao Wei laid the foundation for the eventual unification of China under the Jin dynasty. Known for his ruthless tactics, Cao Cao is often portrayed as a villain in popular culture, but many historians view him as a pragmatic leader who prioritized order and stability. His reforms in governance and military organization had lasting impacts on Chinese history. 25. Sun Quan's naval mastery. Sun Quan, the ruler of Eastern Wu, is renowned for his naval mastery, which played a critical role in the kingdom's defense and expansion. His ability to use the Yangtze River as a defensive barrier allowed Eastern Wu to resist both Cao Wei and Shu Han for many years. Sun Quan's strategies, particularly in naval warfare, ensured Eastern Wu's dominance along the Yangtze River, solidifying its position as a formidable power throughout the Three Kingdoms period. 26. Liu Bei's legacy. Liu Bei, the founder of Shu Han, is remembered as a symbol of loyalty and righteousness. His rise to power, from humble beginnings as a minor warlord, reflects his determination and charisma. Liu Bei's efforts to restore the Han dynasty and fulfill the vision of Zhuge Liang became central themes in the history of Shu Han. His legacy, though marked by defeat, is celebrated in Chinese culture, particularly through his portrayal in the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where he is often depicted as a heroic figure embodying Confucian virtues. 27. The role of minor warlords. While the focus of the Three Kingdoms period is often on the major players, Cao Wei, Shu Han, and Eastern Wu, many minor warlords also played important roles in the early stages of the conflict. Figures like Yuan Shao, Yuan Shu, and Gongsun Zan held significant power in the north and northeast of China before they were ultimately absorbed or defeated by the larger kingdoms. These warlords contributed to the fragmentation of China in the late Eastern Han period, setting the stage for the Three Kingdoms conflict. 28. The power struggles in Cao Wei. Despite Cao Wei's military strength, the kingdom faced internal power struggles that weakened its stability. After the death of Cao Cao, his sons Cao Pi and Cao Ji vied for control. Although Cao Pi succeeded in establishing himself as emperor, tensions within the royal family persisted. The rise of the Sima family, particularly under Sima Yi and his descendants, further destabilized Cao Wei, leading to the eventual overthrow of the Cao family and the establishment of the Jin Dynasty. 29. The decline of Shu Han. Following Zhuge Liang's death, Shu Han gradually weakened. Internal strife and ineffective leadership under Liu Shan contributed to the state's decline. Attempts to launch military campaigns against Cao Wei failed repeatedly, and by 263 AD, Sima Zhao seized the opportunity to invade. The loss of Shu Han's territory and the eventual surrender of Liu Shan marked the end of the kingdom, leaving only Eastern Wu and Cao Wei to contend for supremacy. 30. The role of literature and culture. Despite the turbulent times, the Three Kingdoms period saw the flourishing of literature and culture. Cao Cao, Cao Pi, and Cao Ji were all accomplished poets whose works contributed to the development of Chinese literature. The period is also noted for advancements in the visual arts, particularly in calligraphy and painting. The stories and characters of the Three Kingdoms have since been immortalized in literature, most notably in the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which continues to influence Chinese culture and media to this day. 31. Legacy of Zhuge Liang. One of the most respected figures of the Three Kingdoms era is Zhuge Liang, the chancellor of Shu Han and a renowned strategist. His Longzong plan laid out the strategy for Shu Han's defense and its alliances. Known for his wisdom, diplomacy, and military brilliance, Zhuge Liang was instrumental in maintaining the alliance between Shu Han and Eastern Wu. Even after the death of Liu Bei, Zhuge Liang continued to work tirelessly to uphold the Shu Han state and launched several northern expeditions against Cao Wei to fulfill Liu Bei's vision of restoring the Han dynasty. Although these campaigns ultimately failed, Zhuge Liang's legacy endures as a symbol of loyalty, intelligence, and perseverance in Chinese history. 32. The rise of Sima Yi. Sima Yi, a general and strategist of Cao Wei, became a significant figure during the latter half of the Three Kingdoms period. Known for his cunning and patience, Sima Yi was crucial in defeating Shu Han's northern expeditions led by Zhuge Liang. His successful defense of Wei solidified his position within the Wei court. However, his true rise to power came after defeating Cao Shuang, which gave his family control over the Cao Wei government. This victory paved the way for his descendants to establish the Jin Dynasty, effectively ending the rule of the Cao family. 33. Cultural influence of the Three Kingdoms. The Three Kingdoms period has left a profound cultural legacy in China and beyond. The historical records and tales of this time have inspired generations of literature, Art and entertainment. One of the most notable contributions is the classical novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Written by Luo Guanzhong during the 14th century. This historical novel, blending fact and fiction, has become one of the most influential works in Chinese literature, shaping the way many view the heroes, villains, and events of the Three Kingdoms period. Its influence can be seen in films, television series, operas, and even video games, continuing to captivate audiences to this day. 34. The importance of naval warfare. During the Three Kingdoms era, naval warfare played a critical role in shaping the balance of power. Especially for Eastern Wu, whose territory included the southern banks of the Yangtze River. The kingdom's strategic use of river defenses allowed it to survive numerous attacks from both Cao Wei and Shu Han. The Battle of Red Cliffs, perhaps the most famous naval battle of the period, saw Sun Quan and Liu Bei's combined forces defeat Cao Cao's much larger army, securing the survival of Eastern Wu and significantly weakening Cao Wei's ability to expand southward. 35. Contributions of Cao Wei. Despite the political turmoil within the kingdom, Cao Wei made significant contributions to governance and military organization. Cao Cao's reforms in agriculture, such as the introduction of the Tushan system, helped stabilize the economy and provided food for his military campaigns. Cao Wei also excelled in military technology, developing new siege engines and improving fortifications. Culturally, the Cao family, particularly Cao Cao and his sons, Cao Pi and Cao Ji, were patrons of the arts, contributing to the rich literary and cultural heritage of the time. 36. The role of women in the Three Kingdoms. While much of the historical focus during the Three Kingdoms period is on male figures, women also played key roles in both political and military affairs. Some women acted as advisors to their husbands or sons, while others were involved in critical decisions that influenced the course of events. Notable figures include Lady Sun, Lady Zhen, and Lady Wu, who, although often operating behind the scenes, wielded significant influence in their respective courts. Their contributions have been recognized in historical records and in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where they are portrayed as essential to the political dynamics of the era. 37. The role of religion and philosophy. The Three Kingdoms period also saw the continued development of philosophical and religious thought in China. Taoism and Confucianism were dominant ideologies that shaped governance, ethics, and social structure. Zhuge Liang is often cited as a prime example of a Confucian scholar official, applying Confucian principles to governance and military strategy. Meanwhile, Taoism, particularly in the form of the Heavenly Master sect founded by Zhang Dalin, began to grow in influence. This period also witnessed the early spread of Buddhism into China, where it would later flourish during subsequent dynasties. 38. The end of the Three Kingdoms era. The Three Kingdoms period officially came to an end in 280 AD when Eastern Wu fell to the Jin Dynasty. After decades of conflict and shifting alliances, Sima Yi, the Emperor of Jin, succeeded in unifying China under a single ruler. Although the Jin dynasty's rule was relatively short-lived, the unification marked the end of nearly a century of division following the fall of the Han dynasty. The era left an enduring legacy in Chinese culture, with the stories of its heroes, battles, and strategies continuing to resonate throughout history. 39. The influence of Three Kingdoms on popular culture. Beyond its historical significance, the Three Kingdoms era has had a lasting impact on popular culture in China and around the world. The period's rich tapestry of characters and events has been retold in countless forms, including novels, television dramas, films, and video games. Romance of the Three Kingdoms, in particular, has become a foundational text in Chinese literature, influencing everything from Peking opera to modern storytelling. The stories of Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Quan, and their loyal followers continue to inspire new generations, keeping the legacy of this turbulent period alive. 40. Conclusion. A legacy of heroism and strategy. The Three Kingdoms period remains one of the most fascinating and influential periods in Chinese history. Its legacy of heroism, military strategy, and political intrigue continues to capture the imaginations of scholars, artists, and history enthusiasts around the world. The era's blend of historical fact and legendary storytelling has ensured that the Three Kingdoms will remain an enduring part of China's cultural heritage for centuries to come. 41. Economic challenges. By the end of the Eastern Han, natural disasters and prolonged warfare devastated society, causing the economy to collapse and leaving much farmland abandoned. Some powerful landowners organized their clans into self-sustaining fortresses, known as Bao, with their own defensive structures, granaries, and armories. This system of Bao and manorial estates later influenced the economic model of the Wei, Jin, and Northern and Southern dynasties. After the collapse of the Han dynasty, money ceased being minted, and large amounts of private coinage circulated. It wasn't until the establishment of the Three Kingdoms that new copper coins were introduced. 42. The economic strength of Cao Wei. Of the Three Kingdoms, Cao Wei had the largest population and the most cultivated land, making it the most economically powerful. Cao Wei implemented the Tushan system, encouraging refugees to settle on abandoned land and resume farming, which helped restore social order and boost the kingdom's resources. Large-scale water management projects also contributed to agricultural productivity. Although some efforts were poorly planned and short-lived, Cao Wei was also known for its craft industries, with cities like Yi and Luoyang becoming important trade and craft centers. 43. Shu Han's economic development. Although Shu Han had a smaller population and less arable land than Cao Wei, its economy was supported by the fertile soil of the Sichuan region. Liu Bei and his chancellor Liu Ba introduced a new coinage system called Zibaiqin, stabilizing the region's economy. Under Zhuge Liang's direction, irrigation systems like Dujiangyan were maintained to ensure agricultural productivity. Shu Han was also rich in resources like salt, iron, and silk. The state relied heavily on the trade of silk and other goods, which were exported to the other kingdoms and beyond. 44. Eastern Wu's economic and naval power. Eastern Wu, situated south of the Yangtze River, initially lagged behind Cao Wei and Shu Han in terms of economic development. However, it benefited from a large influx of refugees from the north who brought with them advanced technologies and skilled labor. Sun Quan's regime introduced the Tushan system, similar to that of Cao Wei, and established strong naval and shipbuilding industries, which contributed to its control over the Yangtze River and its coastal regions. Eastern Wu also developed a robust textile industry and had access to valuable resources like copper and salt. 45. The role of the arts and culture. Despite the ongoing conflicts, the Three Kingdoms era was also a time of cultural flourishing. Cao Cao, Cao Pi, and Cao Ji were all accomplished poets, contributing to the rich literary tradition of the time. Zhuge Liang was also known for his contributions to both governance and culture, with his writings influencing future generations. Eastern Wu became known for its 8 talents of Wu, a group of skilled artists and intellectuals who excelled in poetry, painting, and calligraphy. The visual arts also thrived, particularly in calligraphy and painting, which became important forms of artistic expression during this period. As we bring our journey through the Three Kingdoms to a close, it's clear that this period in Chinese history was one of intense conflict, strategic brilliance, and cultural innovation. The legacy of Cao Wei, Shu Han, and Eastern Wu continues to inspire stories, research, and reflection. Even centuries later, the heroes, thinkers, and rulers of this era left an indelible mark on the course of Chinese history. But the story doesn't end here. After the fall of the Three Kingdoms, a new dynasty rose from the ashes, the Jin Dynasty. In our next episode, we'll explore how the Sima family solidified their control over China, the challenges they faced during the unification, and the rise of internal strife that ultimately led to the 16 Kingdoms period. If you've enjoyed this exploration of the Three Kingdoms, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more captivating historical content. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment below. And don't forget to join us for episode 8, where we dive into the rich and tumultuous history of the Jin Dynasty, 265 to 420. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.